Stop scrolling! Stop scrolling! Stop scrolling! Right, hello, I've got you. I'm Jonathan. So if you're a musician, a creative, an artist, a sculptor, anything creative, and you're not having an existential nightmare, then you're not paying attention to what's going on. From AI to geopolitical things to depression amongst creatives, we're going to cover it all in a group of the interview.
Feel like a freak. Feel like a freak. Feel like a freak. Feel like a freak.
And you will once again be fighting for our freedom, not from tyranny, oppression, or persecution, but from annihilation. We're fighting for our right to live, exist. One voice, we will not go quietly into the night. We will not finish the fight. We're going to survive. We're going to survive.
Hi, right, so let's get on with this. The reason my 5 guests are here is because I made a connection with Michelle from The Space Between, which is a community interest company. And it is her purpose and her mission when I read the website. So I think it would be frivolous to miss Michelle greeting us. Michelle.
Hello, Jonathan. Thanks so much for having us, and thank you to all of the associates who have come along to have a chat with us today.
Brilliant.
So the space between, as Jonathan said, it really is my mission in life and my purpose, and it stems from my background as a creative and an artist, and an understanding that we have a very unique set of needs because we're very unique people. Both clinically and I think at a deeper level as well, which is where I operate from rather than just the clinical level. And because of having worked in music for 20 odd years and seeing that artists are genuinely and generally commodified rather than being cared for as the humans that they are, and that they don't really know who is safe for them, who actually cares about who they are versus what they're bringing to the table, as in how much revenue they're generating. I really wanted to create this literal safe space for them. And with regard to the existential crisis that Jonathan had mentioned, with the prevalence of AI in the world, but certainly in the arts, we've all heard about how AI is dominating the music scene. 50,000 new songs uploaded a day on Deezer is really turfing real true musicians out, or could do, much less all the rest of the areas that AI is sort of taking over where the arts are concerned. That's really an issue. And then where we're concerned, the space between, offering multiple ways for those who are experiencing things like stage fright, anxiety, depression, or need some support around nutrition, everything mind, body, spirit. Loads of people are now consulting with an LLM rather than, right?
Well, the thing about it is, though, so the interesting thing about those LLMs, and I'll come to Henry next, is that they're wrong 25% of the time and they lie, but we'll get into that later on. Henry, what's your perspective? Am I pronouncing your name right?
Well, so I help people when the doctor might have said everything's fine, your blood tests are fine, but that person still doesn't feel right. So they probably are looking on AI. I've got these symptoms, what could it be? But as you say, AI does get it wrong. It's not personalized enough. They doesn't know about your background. But it can be a useful starting point. It doesn't replace the human touch, though. So I find the most progress is made when people see me regularly for accountability and inspiration and connection, which you cannot get in the same way from a computer. Plus, there are errors. I think I find it useful, but I know what to ask. So I will know if it's slightly off and say, can you just check that, because that doesn't seem right, and then it will dig deeper. But if you don't know the questions to ask, you probably will get some inaccurate information.
Well, do you know
which is
what?
not good in the health sphere.
No, it's not. And do you know what? That is the very point I was making the other day, which is I'll just, for the purposes of this conversation, I'll just show you what a Luddite I am. That is my phone, and it's a flip phone. You know, no data, no apps, no nothing. If I'm away from my laptop, you can't get me unless you've got my phone number, and I don't give out my phone number to people willy-nilly. So separation, I'm a creative in a different way, and I find separation from things is helpful to my mental state. If you don't mind, what do I need to understand about you as a child which would tell me why you or how you are now doing what you're doing? What was your formative experience?
Well, I was a dancer, and it was my whole life, my passion, my everything. And there was no advice on nutrition, or in fact anything, apart from get in the studio, look a certain way, and get on with it. And so I ended up developing osteopenia at 20.
What's that?
And that's due to the osteopenia is bone loss, bone density loss. So it's normally people in menopause are at risk of osteopenia. And it's directly due to lack of advice on nutrition. I didn't know how to fuel myself successfully. When you're young, you can definitely get away with eating really whatever you like, and you can still do it. But inside, my bones were suffering. So I had to move on from dance, and it's so sad that there wasn't anything. It is quite a long time ago. Maybe it's different now, but so when I heard about Michelle's company, it really spoke to me, because it's something I would have liked as a young dancer. But I reversed my bone loss.
Excellent.
And from then I've always been interested in health and nutrition.
When you say you reversed your bone,
it's my second passion.
when you say you reversed your bone density loss, I heard something the other day about vitamin D3. Is that a part of it, or am I completely? Is it a part of it?
Yeah. You know, people think about calcium, which is important, but you also need D3 and magnesium. Things work together, which is what nutritional therapy does. It doesn't look at one supplement or one mineral. You need the whole lot, and you need weight-bearing exercise, and you need enough food. I was definitely under fueling as a dancer.
It's a thing
which
that you get
doesn't work.
caught into.
It doesn't work for bones.
No, and you get forced into it, and it's Jenny, from your perspective, what was the formative experiences that make you who you are?
Well,
I noticed a few years ago that I was struggling with a little bit of self-doubt. Well, a lot of self-doubt, but I hadn't realized it. So I'd always been quite an achiever, I'd had good jobs and things like that. But I'd always be overthinking, doubting myself, under the surface. Even if I looked confident, I realized that I was not quite as confident as I wanted to be, if that makes sense. So, if I was presenting at work or doing something like that. And when I was speaking to Michelle about this, actually, I'd always wanted to be an actress and a singer when I was younger. And I'd started to try and do some acting classes. And I just felt like I let myself down because I got there and I was so good when I was practicing it on my own. But as soon as I got in front of everybody, I just could not do it. It just shut down. Ooh. So I left it and I thought, oh, that's not for me. So as I said, then I went on to get sort of a normal 9 to 5 and I have achieved well in that. But then a few years ago I just realized I was stressed and anxious all the time, not sleeping well, and it just sort of had this bit of an awakening that I was like, I need to change things. So I started exploring different ways of calming my mind, calming my stress and my anxiety, did energy healing, meditation, that sort of thing, and then recently discovered belief coding. So that was sort of the final key for me that helped me to look at why, because you feel like these things are just your personality, but really it's your underlying beliefs driving your behavior. And until I realized that, I wasn't getting to the root of it. So yeah, since I've been on that journey, I've helped myself and then been starting to help others. So in terms of this, it's mainly helping people with stress, anxiety, self-doubt, and just connecting with that confidence and clarity and creative freedom to actually be yourself and express yourself fully. So I've done a lot of work on myself and then started helping others. And recently I've started doing it for kids as well. So I've got my other side here. Yeah, well, as I started learning all these tools, I thought, why didn't I know this as a kid? Why didn't I realize half the stuff, like even just breathing, grounding, them sort of things. So I've published some books for kids to teach them it I've got some here actually, they're lovely, the illustrations and everything. Oh, you can't see them in my background.
Can't really see it, yeah.
Show you them another time. But the lovely books to teach kids all the tools I wish I'd known. So when Belief Coding's sister organisation set up a kids side called Next Generation Mental Health Empowerment, I immediately started doing that as well because it was exactly
Excellent. So different branding, but it sounds to me like something I learned, which is called neuro-linguistic programming.
Oh yeah, it's parts of that. Yeah, it blends a lot of different modalities into one. Belief coding and takes the best of a few different.
Everything. Yeah. How exciting. Do you do any high energy stuff, or is it mostly intellectual?
High energy stuff, you mean?
So I did this thing for a few years in primary schools, and it was all about children don't like sitting down quiet.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, in the MEMS program, we call it for short, the Mental Health Empowerment Mentor. That's a 6-week structured program for kids, and it's structured, but it's child-led. So if you feel like they need to get outside and jump around or go and hug a tree, we'll do that with them. You'll do literally anything that they need, but they'll be learning how to regulate their emotions, how to flip limiting beliefs, because it's not the same as belief coding for the kids. It's sort of a gentler version, but it's essentially the same sort of principle, which is getting them to believe in themselves, because you won't believe how many kids, especially teenagers, are already saying these awful things about themselves. So it's our job to sort of figure out what those underlying beliefs are and flip them to more positive beliefs throughout the 6 weeks.
Sounds crucial. And I mean, from an artist's point of view, a musician's point of view, I haven't played with the band since I was at school. But Michelle, if you're a working musician, you are operating on a set of beliefs, and it up until 20 years ago, maybe, it was music sales, like selling, was it maybe, or 30 years ago? When did music? Yeah,
no, it was, and now it's streams, how many streams you have, which you can have 30 million streams and get paid like 2 pennies
Right,
for
yeah.
that. So, but it's still, you're chasing streams, also followers on social media, which means you have to create content which doesn't necessarily have to have anything to do with the music that you're creating. So suddenly what you're passionate about and what you're good at almost maybe means even less than it did before, because it's not, you can create the most incredible, beautiful music. If you don't have enough followers on TikTok, though, is it getting you where you want to be? Which can really mess with your head, right?
Yeah. I mean, it messes with the whole world model, which is why I can relate with Jenny. So, Coral,
Yes.
tell, if you care, tell me about the things that formed you into the person you are now, beaming into the camera.
I think the biggest one was when I realized that I was in a relationship that just wasn't working for me. And I was looking for all the external things of what I needed to do to change the relationship. I'd gone for counseling, and I'd gone to, we'd both been to marriage counseling, things weren't working. And I woke up one day realizing, as the scene played out on repeat, that, hang on, it's something that I can change. And it's the only person I can change is myself. I can't change the other person. And that's what sent me on my journey of discovery and learning all the different modalities that I have gone through over time. And it changed my life. And it's helped change other people's lives as well, because part of learning to do this, you then learn and realize, oh, you can actually help other people too. So why not put it out into the world and start being part of the change for good?
Question that you absolutely don't have to answer. Did that relationship part company?
Yes, it did.
So, and that's just gone.
Yeah, no, and it was good for me because a couple of years after we were separated, we were still friends. In fact, I used to work for him. I could go to him and say, I still love you. I don't love the person I became when I was with you.
Ooh,
So that for me was the big difference.
that's amazing. Very nice. So, Rosie, how you doing?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm all the better for seeing you. I didn't mean to leave you till last. I'm so sorry. But yes, we spoke a bit before we started recording, and you were telling me about things in your experience. Someone's watching this now and they see you. What is it about you that's made you who you are, and why should they care what you think?
It's such a big question, isn't it? It's been asking everyone else. I've been like,
Yeah.
it's such a big question.
Sorry.
It's like,
I know.
I mean, thinking back, really everything that I do is about connection. And that's like, I was always a really sensitive child. I mean, there's loads of labels now, aren't they? Everyone's got a label for everything. So HSP, highly sensitive person, whatever. But like, I'm a big empath. I've always known that like people are fascinating. I'm so interested in people and our connection, and responsibility to each other is kind of what drives me, I guess. The fact that we mean something to each other and that we have, I believe that humans in their element are good and want to support and help each other. And that's the way I've always kind of lived my life. I've had a very varied career, but everything that I've done has been with the aim to support people and make my corner of the world as good as it can be, I guess. That's what drives me. But I also feel that like when we're very sensitive and we're big empaths, we're also not really taught how to use that as the superpower that it is. It can be quite a scary world that we're living in, and we're not taught what to do with all of those emotions, and talking about the internet and AI, and I often think that our nervous systems and our spirits are not they're not designed to take on board all of this stuff that we know now.
No.
You know,
Yeah.
and it's overwhelming. It's hard for people. And when we're talking about people that might come to the space between, you know, creatives often by their very nature are sensitive, connected beings. You know, that's just all part of it, isn't it? It's all flowing out of people. But what you're not set up for is the limitations of it, the stuff you're coming up against, the criticism, the fact that everyone's got an opinion. Like, all of this stuff is just so hard for our little systems to take. And how it manifested in me as I grew up was that I had a lot of illness, a lot of tonsillitis, I had glandular fever, I had my tonsils taken out, I had, you know, lots and lots of stuff happened. And I was diagnosed with IBS in my early 20s. I had was put on antidepressants for anxiety and stuff in my 20s. And then all of this culminated with me having what I guess people would label as chronic fatigue in my early 30s. And that drew me to, I was very lucky because I was put in touch with a wonderful woman called Claire Caldwell, who's the founder of Mind Body Reconnect, which is the work that I do. And she taught me basically how all of the stuff that had happened in my life, my emotions, the things that were happening to me, that these were like physical manifestations of that emotion and that trauma, and how to work with it and work with our body. Because I was like at war with my body at that stage. Like, I hated it. I was like, why is this happening to me? You know, I was like a young woman, just got married, should have been in the, you know, the prime of life. And I was really angry. Like, why is my body doing this to me? Like, I couldn't. And the doctor, a bit like you said, Henry, you know, the doctors were like, you are fine. All of the tests are good. Nothing wrong with you here. And I was like, but why do I feel so terrible then? So yeah, it was just amazing to come to this view of like, actually, I am my body. I'm not separate from it, you know, and I can't think my way out of this stuff. Like, some of this stuff is literally happening in my body. You know, we're not separate mental and physical beings. It's just all going on together. And so learning to heal my relationship with myself, because for me, that was like my core thing, was that I actually was fairly lucky in that the people I was surrounding myself with were pretty great people, but the real problem was my relationship with myself. Sounds a bit cheesy, doesn't it? I've never been to me. There's that song, isn't there?
It's true.
But like, seriously, that was my journey, and that's the journey I'm still on. I'm not sat here like a self-actualized perfect being knowing myself fully, but I have a much kinder relationship with myself these days. And that's what I see a lot with people who come to me, is that, yeah, it's like getting to know themselves. What are their needs? How do they show up for themselves? How can they put boundaries in place? How can they actually follow their creative path? You know, all of these things. And how can they sort of sort out what's going on in their thinking brain that is maybe hindering or helping, and bring all of it together so that people can just live the life that meets their needs. That's what I do.
That sounds joyous. It sounds joyous.
Yeah, it's very beautiful work. I'm very
So,
glad to be doing it.
It occurs to me, probably unsurprisingly, that each of you have described a personal journey and a relationship with oneself and how that's transformed your lived experience. I'll tell a bit about my story. You know, it's just a story basically. So I was given up for adoption on day 2, adopted in month 9. That had a whole series of effects that I didn't realise about until I read a book 3 years ago called The Primal Wound, and reckless behaviours, addictions, all that sort of stuff I had. Then 30 years ago, I was riding a bike. I had a bike accident, a motorbike, and my right arm and side is paralysed, incredibly painful. Hold on. Like toothache only across the whole of your upper arm. Then what else? Oh, I broke my left hand, so I didn't have any arms at all for 18 weeks. That teaches you humility. And then I had 5, I'd like to say 6, 5 mini strokes and 1 big stroke. And the big stroke wipes me out. I didn't even have a concept of consciousness for about a week. And it was rebuilding my consciousness that developed this relationship. And I wrote a book about what I was doing, because I was doing, like Jenny, this thing for kids. I set up this organisation, NLP at primary. It was all like, and the kids loved it. The adults hated it. Or were best bemused. So I really resonate with all of your stories. So let's dive in. You have all talked about energies and internal, so Rosie, about the body-brain connection. Have you read the book The Myth of Normal, or Gabor Mate?
Gabor Mate, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I haven't actually read that book, full
Okay.
confession, but Gabor Mate, a lot of the work that I do is based on a lot of the teachings from Gabor Mate and his understanding of how trauma shows
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, like, so when I read it, it's a big book, but like women suffer from multiple sclerosis 8 times that of men. And have you read by the way, anyone who wants to dive in, because this is a free for all. Has anyone read The Emotion Code?
That's a lot about what belief coding's based on, because it's trapped emotions. So when you had an experience that you weren't able to release the emotion in that moment, you didn't have your needs met, you couldn't express yourself, that's when it becomes trapped. And then if you have another experience that seems similar to that pattern creates the limiting belief. And that's what I was meaning before. I'd obviously had some experiences that were making me fear that judgment of trying out my acting and stuff like that. And now I can get to the root of it. So it brings up the memories that those emotions became trapped. So a good example was one where I wanted to start recording myself for my social media, because I just thought I'm going to have to get my services out there. And that was a really good example of how belief coding just flipped it for me overnight, because I came up with 3 memories where I'd been called ugly by a lot of them at school, childhood type things, because that's when you form these limiting beliefs most of the time. So a lad had called me ugly when I was younger. I'd also been pushed out of a group. These were different scenarios. And another one was where I'd been shot down by this guy that I'd known because I'd said hi and he's like, "Don't you speak to me." And obviously at the time you brush it off thinking, "Oh, that wasn't nice." But I didn't express it. I didn't get it out. And I may have sort of forgot about it. But when I went back and worked on it in the belief coding session, it had left a mark. I had some trapped emotions from that. So I worked on all of those, and then now I can literally record myself filming, anything about my services. I'm not feeling anxious when I post it. So that is exactly how it works. Release those emotions and you can get on with your life, do whatever you want. So yeah, it's brilliant for that.
You'd think we'd set that up. Sorry, say again?
I was just going to say the emotion code is fascinating stuff.
Yeah, it is. So if you haven't read it, the other ladies, so essentially, very compressed down. Jenny's just told about these trapped emotions. Essentially, I think we're all pretty much into chakras and energy centers and stuff like that. So the thing you do, this is a 6-pound magnet, and you identify where the trapped emotion is through kinesiology. Do we all know what that is? For you watching, kinesiology, essentially, everyone in the world and everything in the world is so interconnected that you can get a binary answer to a question you don't even know the answer to. But anyway, take this magnet, central governing median, over the top of your head, back down. If I had 2 hands, I'd take it down the back to your tailbone 3 times, bang, emotion released. And I was reading that book, and if it wasn't story after story after story after story, you go, yeah. Who wants to say something about their view of the world at the moment?
That's a big one.
Yeah.
Another big one. Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
Coral.
Well,
My view of the
that's
world.
why I
at
just
the moment.
Yeah, because what I'm thinking is this. We need to connect with the people who are going to see this, and I think I just think, look, we're in November 2025. It's looking pretty bad. Like some serious stuff is going to happen to a lot of people all at once, effectively. What hope, Coral? Or do you disagree, which you can?
No, I don't disagree, but I'm not of the thing of, well, something terrible is going to happen, so I may as well just end my life. There's nothing I can do about it. So, goodbye, cruel world sort of thing.
Mhm.
I will fight to my last breath to do what I do, because I know I make a difference to people. I've seen how I can help people change their attitudes, change their outlooks, and I've even given people hope when they've, sort of working with a woman who she wasn't even able to leave her house. Fortunately she was working from home, so she had a well-paying job, but she couldn't go outdoors without company.
Right.
To the point where she got to booking a solo trip across the UK and into France to go and visit her mother, including the good old football hooligan train. I mean, this woman is now living a life, and if I'd said to her, well, the world is in a, excuse the French, shit place right now, and there's nothing much you can do about it, so you may as well just stay at home. She'd still be sitting there. Right now, she's married. She's expecting her first child.
Ooh.
So it's not a case of, well, everything's going to hell in a handbasket. Give up and just sit in a corner and feel sorry for yourself. Get up and make the most of what you can with life. You never know what difference you are going to make to a person standing next to you in a checkout queue. Pushing your trolley in a Tesco, and you give the trolley to somebody else. A smile to somebody else just makes a difference. And you never know who that person is. They could be the next, the next big thing. And you've smiled at them, and they have changed their life, and it's changed them in that moment.
Do you know what? I am so resonating with you. So here's what I do when I'm being naughty. So I stopped eating sugar, bags of sweets, 50 years of eating bags of sweets. I've hardly got any teeth left. I thought, before I get diabetes, I'll stop. So I've stopped sugar. What was the point of me telling you that? I've lost my train of thought.
Making a difference.
Oh, making a difference, yeah. So when I'm on a naughty at the moment, I like red Leicester cheese and sweet Thai crisps from Tesco's. So 2 cheeses for £4 or 3 quid each. I haven't got a club card, so I always start conversations with people in the queue. And I had this moment of crisis the other day. I say the moment of crisis when I realised that I'm the nutter on the night bus that sits and talks to everyone. So I don't know if people are afraid or genuinely warm, but I must say that I have the most pleasant interactions with people.
Yeah.
All the time. And there is so much joy.
Absolutely.
And in fact, and I think we'll see what others think, you've very clearly stated, so there's a psychologist, Alfred Adler, it's personal psychology. So basically, yes, this stuff is happening, but it's about what you do in this moment. And I think the older we get, the more we realise this moment is, we only have this moment. I've seen people go in a moment.
Yeah.
So, Henry, what's your take on the world?
What I'm seeing a lot of is, and the way people are living their lives is affecting their physiology. So they might not realise it, that rushing your food, rushing your day, is constantly putting your stress hormones up. And stress is really serious for health. But we're in this culture where everybody is on all the time. It's a 24-hour sort of, your phone is pinging, yours as soon as you wake up. And if people could just be a bit more mindful, it would improve health, because a lot of it's, especially scrolling, it's really mindless. It's the opposite to where I want people to be. But they might maybe scroll through a rushed meal and then wonder why their digestion is playing up. They might say, oh, I've got a good diet, I'm eating this and this, but then we look at how you're eating and the effect of rushing, stress, being on all the time.
Have you read that book? It reminds me of that.
It's not the way, it's not good for our brains.
What's it
Oh,
called?
right, I haven't read that one.
The Russian Women
Russian
Syndrome.
Women
It's
Syndrome.
exactly what you were just saying.
Ah.
It's really good.
Is that what it says?
So yeah, so rushing with food.
Yeah.
So I was reading a book years ago now called Sugar, Salt and Fat, or Fat, Salt and Sugar. Basically how food is made to this thing called the bliss point. So most people
Oh,
will
yes.
recognize.
Makes it very addictive.
Yeah, so you would recognise it. I don't drink fizzy drinks anymore, but you have a can of Coke, say, that first bubble hits the roof of your mouth, you get a sugar rush. And I only have 85 or 95% black cocoa bean chocolate anymore. But I thought the other day I could get away with having a Lindt with mint in it. So it's Lindt dark chocolate. It's only 45%. The rush I had off that, I finished the whole bar. I've had to now stop eating it because I went, no, that's too sweet. So,
Yeah.
Rosie, how would I start to be helped by you? What would I have to do? Okay, let me frame it a bit better. I used to think that self-awareness was abundant. The more I have conversations with people, the more I find that only, and I'm using only for dramatic effect, only people that have experienced trauma have had to develop the mental resilience to be able to observe thoughts, observe emotions rising, so that we're not reacting with anxiety or fear or the wrong words or whatever it might be. Am I talking complete nonsense? Anyone?
I mean, I think everyone's on their own path of self-discovery, aren't they? Like, self-awareness is an interesting one, because I think we can be incredibly self-aware but still very unwell people. You know, we can know ourselves really well and still not be taking the action needed to make a life that we really want. And I see that often is that, you know, people often come having done loads and loads of different inner work and different stuff, you know, and gone to see many different people. But the action in their life is still not happening. And, you know, I think, yeah, it can be hard to take that action, can't it, and take that next step. But I don't know whether I'd agree that only people who have had, I mean, the trauma is an interesting word, isn't it? Like, we talk about trauma with a big T and trauma with a little t, you know, people, stuff that people might think of traditionally as a traumatic thing to happen. But everyone has been through, like, just being in this world. You mentioned the existential crisis, like being in this world, we all lived through a pandemic. We've not even touched on the implications and the repercussions of how that was for people. We've just kind of gone back to business as usual, as if there's nothing to worry about and everything's fine and we're all good now. And I think that's why things, yeah, I mean, I think that's why things like when I saw Michelle's original post and she was talking about the space between, you know, it feels like this is the most important time for this kind of community to be built, you know, for people to come together who are like-minded, who care about each other, that care about the stuff going on in the world and want to do something meaningful. This is why the stuff Michelle's doing is so great. You know, it's something meaningful and tangible that people can explore. And, you know, when Michelle was talking about it first with me, you know, this sense of a community, not just for the people that are maybe coming, but also us as associates, you know, and it's a very beautiful thing that she's building. And that's what we need. We need this stuff to spring up naturally against the forces that are trying to keep us apart, because that's what it's all about for me, is like this connection thing again. There are forces that are driving us to doubt each other, to question each other, and what we need is community, because that's the only thing that will get us through all of this, is my feeling.
I love that. Fantastic.
And can I jump in a second,
Please.
Jonathan? Because
Please.
to go off the back of that, and so because Rosie mentioned the pandemic, and whatever anybody's view of that is, the one thing that we know for certain that happened, we were physically separated from each other, right? And from the people we love the most, and we lost people because we couldn't see them. And for some people, that's resulted in a remaining fear of becoming close again, right? Or maybe they got used to not having that human closeness, whether it be conversationally in different rooms or in the same room, or doing things or going out. We got used to that. Whatever the genesis of it, big or small, whatever anybody thinks of it, that's the fact of it. And that, I think, has had such a detrimental effect on us. And now then we can bring it back to the AI sort of things, right? If we need humans less and less, or we're given a message that we need humans less and less, and it's not the truth, but we keep getting told that. And this, for me, so again, like every time somebody says something lovely about the space between, I nearly well up, because each time there's nearly 30 associates now, and every one of these incredible human beings that I've spoken to, every time we speak and had our initial conversations, we are all very like-minded in the sense that each of us do things differently, but we want to do something good for other humans in our own way. And if we can figure out how to do that together, that's what matters the most for us. Each of us also in some ways, most of us anyway, gravitates towards the arts and creatives world, so that naturally gelled. But again, the bottom line is, what can I do good in the world? And particularly the messages that we keep getting, world's going to hell in a handbasket, it's all horrible. Yes, there's lots of awful things going on. I try to say, because where I function from, I hear it, I see it, I get it. That is not the reality I choose. It's not the timeline I choose. It's not the direction I want to go in. I try to minimize that energy and that conversation in my life, because I think that if I keep saying everything is shit, everything is shit, everything is shit, everything's going to be shit.
Yeah. Toast.
So that's my 2 cents.
That's a brilliant 2 cents. And I think what's particularly interesting to me is that we were all drawn to you, and that we do all have a similar vibrational frequency that we detect. I know I'm a bit off the wall in comparison with normal people, but I'm basically one of you. And the fact we've all been drawn to you and what you're trying to do, I think there's a phrase where your greatest fear and your greatest strength come together, something like that. And so musicians, artists watching this, you really want to reach out to these ladies, all of whom have different modalities. Question. I developed through my own reasoning a perspective on the world, and I kind of think, do any of you, identify as any kind of neurodivergent?
I'm going to start really quickly and say, I just say for myself that I personally am of the belief that every single human being is inherently neurodivergent
Neurodivergent.
in the sense that we are all different. We are all individuals. And so for me, it was kind of as the awareness of the difference in wiring in human beings has become more prevalent, I was like, well, gosh, but weren't we always different? Didn't we always see things through a different lens? And I get that it's a bigger clinical topic, but for me it was like, why did we ever decide that everybody should only see, do, be, act, learn one way? That never made sense to me. So that's my thoughts on that.
Yeah.
But I haven't. So that's the extent to which I identify as neurodivergent, if you will.
Anyone else in the room? No? All right. Well, I'm going. Oh, go on, Rosie.
No, it's, I mean, I haven't got any kind of diagnosis, but I'm a bit like Michelle says, it's a big spectrum, isn't it? But like, I don't really know what neurotypical is, and I'm fairly sure that whatever it is, I'm not it.
Yeah.
So,
That's
that's as far as I've gone with it. I have never gone down the path of having a diagnosis because I haven't felt that it's something that would be useful to me. But,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I definitely
exciting.
feel like I've got some traits of ADHD because, 100%, but I've never gone and got them.
Okay, so for you watching and you on the call, if you after this connect with a woman on LinkedIn called Michelle Minikin, and she, the book, I broke my ankle earlier in the year, I was stuck in hospital, read her book. By page 42, I went, my God, I've got to get this woman on board. So Michelle Minikin, it's Nikin, and her thing is good girl deprogramming, because the suppression of emotions is something which in a typical straight relationship, and again, this is typically men, women, and so what happens is first he doesn't ask you, so you don't mention it. Then he's not interested, so you don't mention it. Then he's doing his own thing, so you don't mention it. And it's this continual repression of yourself, your very being, is what comes out as these inflammation injuries, this, fibromyalgia and the things you're talking about. Okay. Let me read you something and see. So we'll wait till the end before you reveal. I'm going to read something out of a book, and I want you to think, as you're doing your thing in whatever modality you're using, if any of this resonates with you. So the mental function that causes neurodiversity. Oh, before I do that, Michelle, yes, we're all individual, but you've got a whole bunch of people that accept the programming, matrix style, yeah? They accept it. And then you've got us artists and change makers. We go, no. We go, I see what you're offering and I'm going to do something different. And most people, we frighten them because we expose the fact that they are unable to conceive of such a thing. So yes, we're all different. Some of us have made that difference a severe competitive advantage in doing whatever we do. And it turns out that what we like to do is help people. So I'll go with your, yes, everyone's different, but basically I used to be completely binary, and then I realized I was being one of normal people. So I changed it to say, yes, all right, it's a spectrum, but we're over one side. Right, anyway, the mental function that causes neurodiversity is a gift in the truest sense of the word, a natural ability, a talent. It is something special that enhances the individual. Neurodivergents don't all develop the same gifts, but they do have certain mental functions in common. Here are the basic abilities all neurodivergents share. They can utilize the brain's ability to alter and create perception, the primary ability. And as I've watched you answering questions today, ladies, I have noticed you looking up quite a lot as you construct and remember pictures. They're highly aware of the environment. They're more curious than average. And Henry, I didn't say in that awareness, when you were a dancer, I bet you were able to see yourself dancing from a person looking at you as well as from within your own eyes. Yay? No?
Yeah, because we worked with mirrors, so
yeah, but you had it in your head.
hard
Yeah, you had it. Yeah, okay. They're more.
for someone else to see me. Yeah.
Oh, you're a little bit of a stagger there, but don't worry. They're more curious than average. They think mainly in pictures instead of words. They're highly intuitive and insightful. They think and perceive multidimensionally using all the senses. They can experience thought as reality, and they have vivid imaginations. And we've been talking for a bit, mate, all of you, myself, but yeah, no?
Yes.
Yeah? So, I'm writing this book while I'm doing this volunteering in primary school, recovering from stroke. And I'm just writing down what I do in my head and how it seems to give me this ability to get up, even though I should not be alive, basically. And I'm just writing it down, not thinking anything about it. 7 years after trying to give away my knowledge, I became so I couldn't understand how adults in schools that have professional training, I'm a high school dropout, I'm an idiot, couldn't understand anything about a child being motivated, about a child feeling psychologically safe, about a child being communicated to like a human being and not a Pavlov's dog. And so it really, I could not understand it. I have a breakdown. I am convicted of a criminal offence, and I can't now work in schools. So I went proper full self-destruction. It was a drug driving offence. And I thought I was going mad. And then I started reading some books. There's a book called Seeing What Others Cannot See, The Hidden Talents of Visual Thinkers and Differently Wired Brains. I read a book called How We Got to Now, which looks at 6 or 7 of the major things that have progressed human society. And that book that I read you those 8 attributes from, The Gift of Dyslexia. Now, I'm not saying any of you are dyslexic, and it's not even about dyslexia because that's just a label. But women have 25% more connections between the left and right hemisphere than men do. You literally see things differently. Women also have a much higher sensitivity to differences in colour than men do. The tone of, it's in this Michelle Minnikin's book, the tone of fans in computers and TVs, you can hear it as a whine. Yeah, so I don't know where I was going with that. Michelle, I'll tell you what, stare down the barrel of the camera, Michelle, and say to the wonderful creative individual that we're speaking to today why they should connect with you.
So sort of off the back of what you've just said and speaking about the differences in humans is and what we're comfortable with, what we can relate to. That's why the space between has been built the way that it's been built. There's a few options for talking therapies that are available, which are absolutely valuable in the world. I mean, to creatives programs specifically addressing that. But because of who I am and how I am, I understand or feel that not everything works for everyone or they're not comfortable with it. So I have brought together, very, very luckily enough, brought together a wide variety of practitioners with a wide variety of modalities. So each individual should be able to find something that they feel comfortable with. All of them are extremely effective, of course, modalities. But if it's somebody, as I like to say, it's very mind, body, spirit oriented. So if somebody feels most comfortable with a homeopathic remedy because it's similar to something that they're used to in what would be, now what's not considered alternative therapies, but allopathic medicine, we have that for them. But if they want to look at something from a more spiritual level, more emotional level, whatever may work for them, there is a practitioner and modality that suits them. And for me, this really was about recognizing that every individual is an individual. And if we can make available to them something that will be effective for them, then that's all the better for everyone involved. And similarly, at different points on their path, if they come to us at 14 with a need for their auditioning for a school play or in a school play, and they may have one set of needs, but then when they're 22, perhaps they've landed a really big gig and they have a completely different set of needs. Well, we're able to help with that as well. I really wanted it to be as 360 as possible. Again, it's about addressing the individual needs as the individuals they are.
What I loved about that was the fact you said you've been lucky to get these associates. What it is you drew us to you. And not only did you draw us to you, but you drew me to give up a Saturday. We're all giving up a Saturday to record this because I'm compelled to make a difference in the way that I can. And doing this is the best I can do. So, okay. Yeah. They say don't talk about religion or politics. I just want to float something out there about theology. So, different modalities, all kind of surrounding the same thing. Different religions. I don't even know how many different branches of Christianity there are. It's about 12 or something. And all of the people who believe whatever they believe it absolutely as truth it is, the truth it is, the way it is, the path it is manifest. And I don't take anything away from that. Indeed, such is the power of belief, Jenny, that I am relatively convinced, can conceive of without too much difficulty, the concept of the energy that runs us and is our consciousness is built on a set of beliefs, most of them unconscious, some of them conscious. And what you believe to be true is true. So a person who believes when they pass does go to the place that they expect. And the thing I found, and I keep on saying it, and it's very interesting because I'm never challenging someone's religion when I say it. I just say, well, look, they're all kind of looking at the same thing. It's just a different flavour. What are your thoughts, Rosie? I throw you the big questions. Yeah.
People have their own beliefs for a whole host of different reasons, don't they? And I think that in terms of the conversation that we're having today, it doesn't matter what people believe. in terms of spirituality, we're all spiritual people, I believe, in one way or another. Like I don't follow a religion. I'm not a religious person, although I was brought up as a Christian. So my higher power is the interconnectedness of all of us and our humanity. But yeah, I can't remember. What's your actual question? I can't remember now what you're actually asking me.
I'm not sure I actually asked a question. I think I was postulating theology.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately,
Okay.
whatever people believe, if they are struggling with something in the world that we are living in, then, you know, reaching out and getting support is a good start, isn't it? And,
Definitely.
you know, I've worked with people of all different religions and belief systems, and ultimately it's irrelevant to me in the work that we do together, because it's all about meeting someone where they are and giving them the support that they need. So it's kind of, it doesn't matter. It doesn't sort of make a difference in terms of the work that we do necessarily, because everyone's got their own beliefs.
Well, what I found is, and the phrase I'm using now is, it's not what you believe, it's that you believe. And I think the thing that we're all trying to help people find, when you say, the phrase is believe in yourself, but it's so glib and vacuous and it offers no value, believe in yourself. Because, so Jenny, you know about the power of beliefs. In fact, we all do. So because we operate on so many unconscious beliefs, I have 5. So I understand beliefs to be the window through which I look at the thing we call reality. Yeah. I know, so I'm happy with the idea that it's not true. I've also got a whole load of stuff going on inside my head. I've got synesthesia, all sorts of nonsense. So it's very, very, very fluid for me. So I have these 5 beliefs. Now, what was the last belief? Oh, yeah. Equality. Oh, no. How you doing? Will it go?
Oh, my goodness, how gorgeous.
There's a strange man. And what is this? Where were we? It's not what you believe, it's that you believe. So 5 beliefs. Yeah. So equality, free will. Free will is heavily caveated. I don't mean the difference between a Samsung and an Apple. I mean the difference between a smartphone and a flip phone. That's choice. Then every day is a gift, stolen from Kung Fu Panda, the bit where, and it's all about the power of now. He goes, you think too much about what's been and what will come. There's a saying, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, but today is a gift. That's why it's called the present. Then children are spectacular, and that is basically it. So whenever I look out in the world, I notice that. In the same way as you, Rosie, said, if you notice what's wrong, you're going to notice that and find it. Coral.
Yes.
With you staring out at the person watching this video, tell them how they will feel after speaking with you for a short period.
That's in 2 seconds.
Yeah, well, do you know what? I've got this habit of asking these questions. I'm really sorry.
Don't you? You're doing very well with these questions, I must admit. You're really throwing us all.
Yeah, sorry.
It's all right. Right. Gather my thoughts for a couple of seconds.
Yeah, of course.
My big way of working with people is getting them to see things differently. So it's a shift in perspective. My aim that when they've finished speaking to me is that they actually, they're in touch with what's in their body. because you can go back to the science of our body processes 11 million bits a second and our brain 50. So our body is taking in a lot, and we're not tuned into the messages that our body is constantly resending back to us. So working with people, I want to get them in touch with their bodies and, okay, what is the message that your body is sending you? And once they get that, then I'll say, well, what about if we look at it differently? Can we maybe look at it from this perspective? I may not even use the word perspective, I might just, let's look at it differently. Or what does it actually feel like? If you could pretend that you could get inside your body, what would it be? Does it have any shape? Does it have any color? Does it have any texture? Does it have a temperature? And we work with that and finding out where they are. And honestly, when a person leaves me, first of all, I always see their faces light up. There's a change in their face. They're lit up from the inside. And that to me is the magic. And I also see that they are relaxed. They're more in their body. They feel more grounded. And they've almost got a sense of purpose. Well, you've given me some tools now. I can go and use those. And I can apply that to my day-to-day moments and my day, and then going forward in the rest of my life. And I just love it when people are like that, and I'm able to reach them. And there are people, yes, that I have not been able to reach, each person to their own beliefs and their own things, but I will always try. And it's just, that's the part that lights me up. That's the part that keeps me going back and fired me up to keep working with people and to keep helping them to see things differently and react differently. And the other big thing that comes from what I do is what I call ripple effect, because I'll teach somebody something, they will take it in and assimilate it, make it their own, and then they will tell somebody else. Could be a family member, could be a friend, could be a stranger, and that ripple effect carries on. So I've got this huge mission to shift perspective globally, and I'm doing it one person at a time.
You know what? You nearly broke into tears then, and so did I, because it is beautiful, isn't it? And what you were saying, Michelle, earlier, was it Michelle? It might have been Jenny, about the fact that just smiling. No, it was Coral, smiling at someone. Yeah, that's how we got into the conversation about cheese. Right, yeah, okay. Anyone who has watched, if you haven't seen the previous episodes of this, that will make no sense. So, Jenny, someone's been to see you for their first appointment. You and I know that beliefs are... No, let me rephrase that. Beliefs are believed to be stubborn. So, change, really quick. Change in an instant. The conversations you have about the change you want to do before you do it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years, that's the hard bit. So one session with you is not going to change that programming. What will I feel?
Well, yeah, some things can be just dealt with in literally one session.
Really?
Yeah, literally. Because if it was one core experience that formed that belief, so and the beliefs can be things the conscious mind would not get at all. You know, it could be little things that when you were a kid, it's nobody's fault, but say you were told, oh, don't show off, or, you know, be quiet. Just little things then form in your mind as, oh, I shouldn't put myself out there. I should always be quiet. The good girls are quiet. And, you know, it's them sort of things that a child just then takes at like face value sort of thing, because their brains are so susceptible to just take everything in at that time. They form it as a little belief, or it's not safe to put myself out there, or, you know, I won't speak up again because I might get laughed at. Say they'd been laughed at in a situation. It's little things like that. And then years and years later, your subconscious is actually trying to protect you. It's trying to say, look, remember what happened last time when we did that? You don't want to do that again. But it doesn't realize that when you're an adult and you're trying to get yourself out there and have a career, that he doesn't need to do that anymore. So we can literally get to that core thing that happened to you in one session a lot of the time and flip it. So we remove the emotional charge and we empower. We code in new empowering beliefs at the end of the sessions. They always leave on a high, having encoded these new beliefs, the opposite of what they were already feeling. But yeah, it could be as small as just 1 or 2 memories that you just work on in that session, or you could come back for multiple different issues. It just totally depends what it is.
Very good, very good. Henry, I have asked the other ladies how I would feel if I was one of your customers with nutrition. So I'm in the middle of a 96-hour fast because I've got a lot of visceral fat. So just going to a state of ketosis, and you drink filter coffee, your thing carries on working, all runs through, and it's just because the ketones come out in the gut, and it literally all the fat supply is there. So and I'm pretty all right with it. I've done 72 hours up to before, like once every 3 weeks I'll do a 72 hour, and so I notice very much so the mental clarity, even though I don't sound like it. And I'm going to do an experiment, which no one should do this experiment, but I was watching another podcast, Diary of a CEO actually, and this woman said methanol blue. There's a food colouring which is out of patent, and it was given to soldiers in the war to boost their cognitive performance. So I'm going to be trying. I've got a litre bottle of it, so I'm going to be trying that over the next month. So if I don't post these videos, something has gone badly wrong. When will I? When will I notice the difference from your intervention, Henry?
Well, everybody's so different. That's why nutrition is personalised. And although you're feeling really good on a fast, I wouldn't ever recommend anything that dramatic to a woman for a start.
Definitely not. Yeah.
And fasting really does have a place, and it does, because you're freeing up digestion. There's literally more energy for your brain, so you can feel very clear-headed. And with that, I've forgotten the question.
So
what was the question?
With nutrition, yeah, it's my fault. With nutrition,
when will you feel different?
Yeah. When?
As I say, everyone's different. It depends how much of a
I'll tell you what. Let me
journey people have got to go on.
Let me contextualize it. You said that some of the people that come to you have been to this and that and the other and tried different things, different modalities, and it's not worked. Which, when we were talking about self-awareness, I think that the people that come to you do have self-awareness, which is why they've done those other things. I still think that a lot of people don't have self-awareness. So is it a physical feeling? Is it and I hate the word diet, is it an eating plan? Everyone's different, but I'm watching this video. No? Go on.
It's not a diet or a plan. It's making small changes that people can manage and ingrain, because it's no good me saying this is the perfect diet, off you go, and it's so overwhelming that people then do nothing. It's making it manageable and small, and normally just starting with getting breakfast right, getting the right proportions of food, maybe coffee after breakfast, hydration, the basics, getting the basics.
frozen.
Henry's frozen for a little bit. Well, while Henry's frozen, and don't break into the song, Michelle, speaking as the inspiration, our muse for being here. What?
Oh, you're back.
Oh, Henry, you're back. So we lost you after.
Yes.
Oh, we lost you after coffee. You said black coffee after breakfast. Yeah. Can you remember what you said after that?
Coffee after breakfast. Yeah. I was talking about if somebody has not been eating breakfast or has been having a very carb heavy breakfast, if I change that around and introduce something more nutritious and stabilizing, their energy, their blood sugar will be stable. So they could feel different straight away. If it's blood sugar's a big one, it's very easy to get it wrong and not realize that your mood or your energy or your concentration is as a result of what you've just had for lunch or a snack. So that's a quick one to correct and to feel better.
Excellent.
Within a
Excellent.
few days, I'd say.
All right. Well, look, I'll do my bit to camera, and then Michelle, you can have the last word. Oh, before we do that, there was some other mind-shattering question that you're probably better off forgotten. Yeah, no, it's not there. Right, okay, fine.
Can I? I'm sorry. Can I pause
Please.
again really quickly? So, for example, with Henry, although so everybody works with all of their clients in all aspects of life, of course, but having someone like Henry who understands the demands of an artist, if they're touring or performing actively. I mean, dancing obviously is very physically demanding. So again, that's in my head, and I'm not speaking for Henry in the least, but maybe to wrap this bit in there, why it's so great to have somebody who understands those demands that is different than if you're working an office job, right? Like as Henry mentioned about the effects of her not having nutritional support as a young up and coming dancer. So if you want to speak to that, if that's okay, if we wrap that in a little bit, Henry, for why it's so different about each individual's needs for diet.
Yeah.
Would you like to say anything else?
Uh-oh.
Yes. So definitely can relate to artists because I've been one, and my advice varies depending on somebody's lifestyle, and that's going to be very different for somebody in an office with an office job to somebody touring who might not have access to a kitchen at certain times. It's a very different set of advice that would be needed, and it might not be the ideal diet, but it can certainly be improved on, and there's so many strategies to still eat well and support your physiology in different environments, and it's helping artists in their environment, which I have experience of myself.
Well, so person watching this video, if you got this far, you're doing well. Hopefully it's been entertaining. But so musicians, painters, actually, you know what? I see the art and the creativity in practically anything, and the fascination with human behaviour that we've all talked about. I can watch someone, folding a piece of paper or folding a napkin. You know when you go into hotels, you have those towels folded into swans and stuff like that. I just like that sort of, you think, oh yeah, that person, they're taking a pride in what they're doing. Right, so, let me do last bit. Right, so if you're watching this, well done. I'm Jonathan McDonald from Potency.world, business, education and social mobility transformation, which probably now that AI has come about won't happen, but hey ho, we've got to laugh on. There are over 30 currently, 29th of November 2025. So by the time you see this, there might be 35, might be 40 different practitioners offering different modalities. So whatever is going to work for you, the space between is going to be able to hook you up. And when a person acts from purpose, from mission, you know that what you're going to receive is going to be the very best of people. People are drawn to change makers because they can see how their strengths can be used. So reach out. All their details will be below my video on YouTube, as long as they've sent them to me. Have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one.